Esther had the most extraordinary experience with the two little people that she loves most in all of the world at the San Diego Fair the other day in Del Mar. Kate and Luke, like everybody else, sometimes in alignment with who they are and sometimes not. So they walked into the fairgrounds, and Esther said, there's lots here, so if you feel attracted to something, point it out. And Luke said, I'm attracted to that. And it was a spinning wheel, some sort of a gimmick, not really even a game. So Luke spun the wheel and got 4 tacos, which did not please him that much. Then Kate spun the wheel and got a chance to win a ticket to Knott's Berry Farm. She was not thrilled. So the nice man said, spin it again, sweetheart. So she did. Knott's Berry Farm again. So the nice man said, spin it again, sweetheart. So she did, and she got Slurpees at 7-Eleven, which she had been talking about for days. There are no 7-Elevens in Texas. And then the day began. Esther stood back and watched the momentum of happiness beginning with Kate and the momentum of pain and agony beginning with Luke. Not only did he not get what he wanted, she got to go 3 times until she did. So the day unfolded. They were playing games, and the very first thing that happened was they were at a very difficult basketball place. It seemed almost impossible to actually make it go in the basket. Just kept bouncing back. And Luke is really, really, really good at basketball. Really good at it. So he tried and tried and tried. Esther invested close to his college education. And then Kate said, let me try, and it went right in. And she got a great big stuffed animal, Pegasus. It was a girl's dream. And Esther looked at Kate, who was not touching the floor, and then she looked over at Luke, who was hanging his head. So off they went to the next game. This one was where you throw quarters across the table. And if they land on the right exact spot, then you get something. So Kate got a little thing and another little thing and another little thing, and Luke said, it's like they don't want me to win. And Esther's thinking, it's how it feels, isn't it? When things aren't working out for you, it feels like someone's doing it to you. Because when you want something and it's not coming, it doesn't seem possible that you would do it to yourself, because you want this thing that you want. So Esther is thinking, I would so like to explain the way all of this works again, right in the middle of all of this. But of course, when you're not feeling good, that's not the time that you're going to hear. Then there was the water game. You shoot the water into the little holes, and they all lined up. There were 5 of them. They all lined up. Kate was on station number 2. Squirt, 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 squirt. Number 2 is the winner. Let's do it again. Squirt, 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 squirt. Number 2 is the winner. Let's do it again. Squirt, 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 squirt. Number 2 is the winner. Mine's broken. It didn't seem possible that Kate could continue to win. But she did, all day long. She had so many stuffed animals, Esther had to make a trip back to the car because they could not lug them all around. So then the reason they'd gone to the concert is because Train was there. Train was going to presentation later that night. And so they arrive after a long, fun and not fun, really funnest day ever and worst day ever. And they arrive at the concert. And they're sitting in their seats. And a nice man comes up to Kate and says, would you like to go on stage with Train tonight? And right before that, while they were eating dinner, Luke had said that he knew the words to the train songs and that Mermaid was his favorite. What song will you be dancing with Train tonight, Kate? Mermaid. So then the concert happened. It was amazing. The stadium was full. Kate was on stage. She got to see this amazing audience. She got to stand next to these beautiful performers. She was floating above the ground. And now she's back in her seat. The concert has come to an end. The audience is demanding an encore. Train comes back onto the stage. The lead singer has 3 t-shirts. He throws them into the audience, and guess who got one of them? Kate. And so as they were walking out of the stadium, Kate puts her hand in Esther's hand, and they are both floating above the ground. And Esther said, "That's the way it works, sweetie. You just feel genuine happiness like you have all day, and everything flows to you." There was no point in having the discussion with Luke, because his reality and his observation of it, he had a momentum going. Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever had a momentum going where no matter how hard you try, how good you are, how clever you are, how genuinely good you really are, still things are not working out for you? And Esther came away from that experience enlivened like never before, because she understands law of attraction. She knows for sure about momentum. She knows about point of attraction, because that's what we're talking about all day, every day. She knows that the way you feel is your indicator of what you've got going on vibrationally. And she knows that you have reasonable control over what you've got going on vibrationally. But she also knows that once momentum gets going, that law of attraction is going to continue to feed that momentum. We've been talking about this momentum for a while. And Esther has been practicing this feeling of getting on that high flying disc. We've been talking to you about this vortex that is spinning. And now we're wanting to say to you that this vortex is spinning in this high flying, high frequency, non-resistance, and that you've got to be up to speed with that. Because when you're up to speed with that, what's in that vortex flows easily into your experience. But when you're down here in despair, or in injustice, or in unfairness, or in fear, when you're in desperation, you are so far from the frequency of that even though that is making its way to you, it cannot come into your experience. You've got to control your frequency. And so we've been saying lately that the best way to maintain that high-flying frequency is first to understand that it exists, next to understand that you can accomplish it, next to pay attention when you find it, next to pay attention when you find it, and to do your best to milk it, to keep the momentum going. We've been telling you a story for a while that sometimes it sounds to us like you are saying, "Abraham, I've jumped out of an airplane and I have no parachute. What do you suggest that I do?" And we say, "Hang on, it will be over in a little while." Because once that momentum gets going, there is not an action that you're going to take that is going to do anything about it. And that's sort of what Esther wanted to say to Luke all day long. Hang on, it'll be over in a little while. Because eventually you'll get a good night's sleep. Eventually something will happen to stop this momentum. And because it is not naturally who you are, it will not continue. But what happens with so many of you is when it starts going wrong, that's when you begin to apply your effort. But you're applying effort in the midst of momentum that's already gone wrong. And in the midst of the momentum that's already gone wrong, in this attraction-based universe where there is no exclusion, every time you shout no at something, the universe says, here's more of it. And that was exactly what Esther witnessed with these darling children. They were both getting more and more and more of the momentum that they had established. So we've been telling this momentum story for a few weeks now. And we've been saying to you that it really is best when the momentum starts appearing to be not going in the direction of what you want, to do something to break the cycle. Meditation is a very good tool. Taking a nap is a very good tool. Having a good night's sleep is a very good tool. But the most important thing to understand is it's momentum. It's momentum. You're in San Francisco, you're standing at the top of one of those hills, you've got your car out of gear and there's no parking brake and it's perched right on the hill and you just nudge it a little from behind and the momentum begins. But you come to your senses early on because you can foresee what's about to happen in this case, wise ones that you are. So you just step out in front of your car and you let it bump up against you and you don't allow the momentum to get going too far or too fast, and it doesn't, and all is well. But can you imagine what it would be like if you were at the bottom of that hill stopping the car? That momentum would give you a different experience, wouldn't it? So we want you to remember that you're like Luke sometimes, and you're like Kate sometimes, and Kate's like Luke sometimes, and Luke's like Kate sometimes. In other words, these are not permanent personality characteristics. Sometimes the momentum just gets going, and it sucks. But when you begin to understand that you can control the way you feel, and that it's not outside circumstances that are controlling the way you feel, and you begin, Jerry used to say, Esther loved this story, that if you're sitting in front of a fireplace in your new cashmere sweater and there's a chinkapin log on the fireplace and it's spitting like those logs do, and a spark gets on your sweater, if you flick it off immediately, nothing happens to your sweater. But if it lands on your sweater and you say, well, damn, look at that. Who bought these logs? These are the kind of logs that make sparks. This is really a wrong thing. This should not have happened to me. Oh. And then the fire truck comes and we're eager to talk with you about anything that matters to you.